Sixers fans, what's up? I had a little mini vacation this past weekend. I went home to Philadelphia to see my family since I couldn't over Christmas. So that was explaining the no videos. But as I'm making this video, the Sixers are currently down 17 points with 4 minutes and 50 seconds left in the fourth quarter. I won't be able to make a video right after the game because I have work tonight, but I would like to make a video about what I've seen so far. I also want to talk about the game against the Miami Heat, which they won, which was arguably their best win of the entire season to this point. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, join the family, join the community. Let's get to 2K, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the Heat game first. Let me talk about the Heat game first. Couple things I tweeted out, a couple things I remember thinking. Georges Niang is an absolute certified bucket in the fourth quarter. That dude is a big-time shot maker when we need him. He has been a great pickup this year. I think he's a super gritty guy who is just awesome, right? He's awesome. And obviously Embiid is on an entirely new planet. My thing about Andre Drummond right now is that he's 28 years old. You watch him play, you see him in a minimum contract at the center position as a backup in the NBA. Not too far removed from his all-star days in Detroit, right? My thing is he's got to get in better shape. And he's got to put more effort into conditioning because if he doesn't, he will be out of the league early. But on the opposite end of the spectrum when it comes to Andre Drummond, his facilitating and his passing has become very, very impressive over the years. That's one thing he has clearly put a lot of time in because back in the day in Detroit, I don't know if you guys really remember Andre Drummond, but he was like putting up historically low assist numbers for seeing the ball as many times as he did per game. Dude wasn't even averaging like an assist a game back in the day in 30 plus minutes a night. Dude was getting like 1.3 assists a night. That is historic in the worst way. But nowadays he's honestly one of our lead facilitators with, you know, the guards, the big man of Embiid off the on the bench. So running through Andre Drummond has shown to work at times, but he needs to get in better shape in order to survive in this NBA climate because he hasn't developed into a shooter to be able to play the way he does as inconsistently as he does, and he doesn't really hustle enough. So that's the thing with Andre Drummond that I've noticed. Let's talk about today. I am not going to sit here and overreact because we just had a phenomenal game against the Heat. We beat a Heat team that had no right losing to us. We went on the road and we beat them, and they're the second team in the East at the time, I think, second or third team, and that was a big-time win. You know what I mean? The Sixers have been playing really good basketball, but this is a game where the shots just were not falling. They were not falling. This is also the third game in 4 days for Philadelphia, so clearly they're a little bit tired, and that's understandable. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, this, that. But obviously, it does shed some light on the problems that the Sixers have endured all season long. We don't have help for Embiid, and I know Tobias Harris has played better over the past couple of weeks. He's even shooting the ball more. He's being more efficient. He's still not enough. I love Tobias Harris, but I just don't see him having a place on this team if this team becomes successful. He's just not going to be one of the guys that we look to because he can't be that guy. I think in order for Philadelphia to make a playoff run, I'm not going to go out on a limb here and say anything crazy, but we're going to need to make some moves, right? And I think we need some playmaking. We need a facilitator off the bench, especially. I love Maxey, and I love that he starts, and I think maybe deep down there's a chance of us contending at least or being a heavy playoff team with him starting, but that would really mean more shot creation in the starting lineup, in which we do not have. We don't have any shot creation in this starting lineup. I also don't understand Doc Rivers. Believe it or not, guys, I don't understand the man. I don't understand why he plays the guys that he plays at the same time. I don't understand why he plays Charlie Brown Jr. and Furkan Korkmaz on the court for so long at some point. And then we see our team lose and go on the wrong end of a lot of runs, and he doesn't make any changes. I know what he's thinking. I know he sees Charlie Brown as a poorer version of Matisse Thybulle because at times Charlie Brown is a very good one-on-one defender. And you know, he's a great hustler. He gets a lot of offensive rebounds sometimes, but he is not skilled enough to play as much as he does. He is just not as good as the other guys on the court. He works hard for sure, but his shot is atrocious. I mean, he has literally the Michael Kidd-Gilchrist shooting form, and I love Charlie Brown, and I'm happy for him. But I don't understand the fans' infatuation with the guy, probably because he's a Philly kid, but at the same time, he just isn't skilled enough to be getting the minutes that he's getting. And it's a little bit frustrating as a fan viewpoint, because it's just, we shouldn't be doing this. Furkan should not be playing as much as he does. He has had a couple pretty solid moves tonight, but he can't hit a shot to save his life. And yet he has the confidence of a kid who doesn't miss. And it's just a very bad combination at times. I appreciate his hustle. I appreciate the work that he puts in. I appreciate the development that he has made with driving the basketball to the rim and scoring layups. But this man needs to learn how to shoot the basketball if he wants to call himself a shooter, because he's not a shooter, guys. He's not a shooter. He's not good enough to do that. Just a lot of shots weren't falling, and I feel bad for Embiid, man, because he was absolutely dominant, got in foul trouble a little bit, but the Sixers need help. I think Tobias Harris, in a perfect world, Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons are gone before the deadline. In a reality, in the real world, guys, let me vent to you. In the real world, Ben Simmons will most likely be a Sixer after the deadline, and Tobias Harris will almost certainly be a Sixer after the deadline. And this team that we see it as is most likely as close as it's going to be to being what it is going to be come playoff time. I don't know if that made sense, but in my head it made a lot of sense. So rewind it a couple of times, watch it back like 3 or 4 times to see if it made sense, and then watch it until it makes sense. That didn't even make sense. Wow. Yeah, it's been a while. So I'm not here to freak out about this Sixers game. I'm really not. At the same time, I think there is a lot more good than bad right now in Philadelphia. The fact that we're winning these games, the fact that we're winning a lot of good games right now, especially on the road, is really, really impressive. And I think it goes to show that Embiid should be the clear-cut MVP as we speak. This man is playing the best basketball of his career. Without Embiid, we are literally the worst team in the Eastern Conference. We are up there with the Orlando Magic. And that's the most insane part about this all. The fact that we could even have these conversations right now talking about what we need to do to win a championship goes to show how freaking amazing Joel Embiid has been this year. So if anything, guys, let's just be grateful, I guess, that we have Embiid on the team and that we can even pretend like we can contend. Because that man is an absolute monster. Peace.